Yeah, so in 1987, Sri Maharaj came to Newcastle and also did a Harinam in Eldon Square. So my friends at that time, Richard and Phil Rapanis, Jude Atkinson and Paul Coates, they helped organise that event and recorded it, and then they were encouraging me to come. But I'd also received an invitation to go to some Christian meeting somewhere as well. However, at the Christian meeting they weren't vegetarian, and I wasn't very impressed by them. So then after I had that experience of chanting and become ecstatic with the chanting, like in that way, then I started going to the program in the temple every morning, and Divya-saṅga, who was the temple president, then he would engage me in some service there because he was building a temple room. It was actually it was a rented building right in the city centre of Newcastle, a place called Leazes Park Road, very close, right in the city centre. So on the basement was a shop, like a hippie shop, and a vegetarian restaurant, not owned by the devotees, run by someone else. Then on the first floor was the temple room and the kitchen and the quarters of the temple president and his wife. On the second floor was the brahmachari ashram. At that time that was only Bhakti Ras was staying there. And on the top floor was a vacant space which Divya-saṅga was converting into a temple room. So I used to help out, help Divya-saṅga with that, do some cleaning and actually, because it was such right in the city centre and it was a new temple, and it was a popular place for visiting devotees to come to. So I was very fortunate at that time to meet Sri Vaiṣṇava-saṅga Maharaj, Javatvasi Prabhu, Mukunda Maharaj came also. So even I think even before I was living in the temple, I met Mukunda Maharaj, and Satsvarup Goswami came 2 or 3 times also. Actually, Bhakti Ras, who was the first brahmachari there, he took initiation from Satsvarup Goswami. So it was very nice to be there. And Divya-saṅga was a very good manager. Previously he'd been the Sankirtan leader in Scotland. He was very good at book distribution, and he was good at collecting Lakshmi for the project. So he bid it, and he was a good handyman. So he did a very nice job on the temple room. It's similar to Soho Street temple room, similar. And then Keshava came in November 1988. Now Sri Maharaj I found out this later actually, that Sri Maharaj had asked Keshava Maharaj to travel all over the UK and try to make devotees. So he was doing that, and he gave a lecture in November 1988, and after he gave the lecture he said, now, any of you boys who are not doing anything like important with your life, you don't have any family commitments, you should come and join the temple and do some service. So I joined on that day. So like Keshava Maharaj was like my Vatma Pradakshika Guru at that time. And it was November 1988. And actually I'd already been doing Sankirtan because the temple president was a Sankirtan leader, and anyone who came to the temple he would take them out on Sankirtan. So I started my first book distribution was in May in a place called Hartlepool, May 1988. Then I would go out and went with Bhakti Ras, and with myself and Bhakti Ras would get the bus to go to different small towns around Newcastle. Went to Hexham, Berwick, Alnwick, Middlesbrough, these places. So it was difficult for me. I remember crying when I was doing Sankirtan in my hometown of Sunderland. I had just had Bhagavad Gitas. They were these Bhagavad Gitas, not Bhagavad Gitas, Bhakti Kodhas. They were specially made for Sankirtan. They were just like about 16 pages, and they were like made to be able to pass out at a very low price. So I remember just like standing in the high street of my hometown, just kind of putting them in people's hands and saying, there you go, that'll that will increase your spiritual development, or something like that. I think I did 7 in one day, but I remember going to cry because it was so difficult. And then, but then after I joined the temple, and I went out on the marathon in 1988, that was a nice experience. Bhakti Ras was a very good association. He was very peaceful, very big, strong devotee, but very peaceful and nice association. So we went out together for about a year, or even 2 years perhaps, and then another devotee joined, a friend of Bhakti Ras called Devikinandan joined. So then there was just the 3 of us. So that was very nice, that my whole life was book distribution at that time. And yeah, so now, although I haven't been doing book distribution so much for the last 10 years, because my health's not so good now, and also there was a need for pujaris in the temple in Kurunabhavan, but still I like to do book distribution whenever the opportunity arises. And it's nice, I've been travelling done some travelling in different parts of the UK and also in Hungary, and it's nice to see that the new generation of young devotees have got some real enthusiasm for book distribution, thanks to devotees like Brigapati and Vijay. And I know that Atavi Krishna went out with Vijay Prabhu. Actually, there's one, we had one guest, amazing, I can't remember his name now, but one guest came to the temple in Kurunabhavan, and I was asking if he'd done any book distribution. He said yes. He said he went to visit. He'd never done it before, but he was on holiday in America and he went to Dwarkadish Temple in Los Angeles, and he just happened to go. Brigapati asked, does anyone want to go on book distribution? So he said, oh okay, I'll try it. So that was his first day with Brigapati in Los Angeles. That was amazing. So yeah, so it's like while these devotees are still like going out there, and we're very fortunate to have their association. And Vijay Prabhu, now he does book tables now, he doesn't do the street so much. He's having a lot of success, and he's now setting that example for other devotees, like, what's that devotee called in Los Angeles now?
Shastrakrit.
No, Shastrakrit's an old devotee, but there's a new young devotee,
Chaitanya,
who does book tables and meditation, yoga and books. So now in Scotland, we are showing the young devotees this method, book tables. It's very popular, and we're also copying like Vaisheshika's Weekend Warriors and these kind of programs. So it's actually in Scotland where preaching has always been quite good in Scotland. I've lived in Scotland now, in the Scottish Yatra, since 1990. I left Newcastle in 1990 to go to the Scottish Temple of Kurunabhavan, and I've been there ever since. So for 20 years we just did book distribution, just straight books and asking for donations, but just really doing the street, not much else. But now we're trying to diversify more, and now more devotees are coming to join us, and there's like it seems like a very exciting time now. So I'm now in Mexico, which is also very nice, because before I came here to Mexico, I thought Mexico was just like, like cactus and football. That's what I thought Mexico was. But actually it's got an amazing history and very varied spirituality, like lots of, like the Mayan influence is still there, Catholicism is still very strong, but not in a kind of oppressive way. And also disciples of Yogi Bhajan starting yoga classes all over Mexico now, teaching what they call Kundalini yoga, but actually it's quite sort of mellow. It's not like real kind of, it's not kind of Sahaja tantric stuff really. So it's nice, there's a nice opportunity to like do networking with these different groups of people. So I think it's a great place for spreading Krishna consciousness in Mexico. It'll be difficult for me to surrender to going back to Scotland, because although Scotland's a great place, it's also, the weather is a little bit demanding there. But anyway, it's a very exciting time. One nice piece of news was that many devotees who came to visit us in Scotland were asking us why we didn't have a restaurant, why we didn't have a preaching centre in the city centre. Anyway, it's just due to the history of ISKCON and the different kind of difficulties and political and financial difficulties. However, now one restaurant owner in the city centre has made like a loft space available for us, which we can use any time, any day of the week, any time. And it's a nice space, and it's right in the city centre. Actually, it's on the main bus route, and it's only like 5 minutes walk from the main train station. So it's like an amazing opportunity. It's also right on the edge of the financial district where all the Indians work. There's thousands of Indians working in Glasgow. It's also next to the biggest hotel in Glasgow, the Radisson Hotel, or we call it the Radisson Hotel. And so this is a very exciting project. And it was one of the first devotees to come there. Actually, I think it was the first Prabhupada disciple, yes. The first Prabhupada disciple to do a kirtan there was Vaiṣṇava-saṅga Prabhu, who came just about a month ago and did lots of nice kirtans. So that was a great kind of christening of this project. And it's going to be called the Om Sweet Om Center, and which is nice kind of play on words. So looking forward to that. So it's nice. Actually, I was thinking, like when my health wasn't so good, I was wondering how many more years I could manage to do like full-time preaching. But then like several devotees who visited Krishna recently, like sannyasis who by adopting a very healthy diet, now they're becoming like young again. And I was thinking, like when you see devotees like Bhakti Chirumraj, how healthy he is, you know. And I was thinking, I heard that Ramanujacharya lived until he was 120 years old. So I think, wow, that'd be amazing if like ISKCON devotees could try to live till they're 120, you know. And they could like see the expansion of ISKCON, you know, we see the opening of the Vedic planetarium, and we could see like all of the predictions starting to come true. So anyway, I don't know if I'll live that long, but I look forward to be able to travel more and like be able to pass on some of the experience I've had in Sankirtan to the next generation, and also learn from them, you know, like, and together we can like, you know, adopt the appropriate means for preaching to the different generations. Of course, it's different all over the world, because in Mexico it's more like, Mexico's like 35 years behind, and culturally and like in terms of like the music culture and the mood of the young people. So it's not that we have to like completely abandon the methods we've used before. We can now use those methods in other countries. So that's very nice. Okay, Hare Krishna. Shishi Nitai Nimai Sundara Ki Jai. Mexican Yatra Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.